World Population Day is an annual observance held on July the 11th, that's today, that focuses on raising awareness about global population issues and their impact on various aspects of life. The day serves as a reminder of the importance of population-related concerns and encourages discussions and actions to address them. In honor of this day, we are pleased to engage Mr. Carlton Phipps, yes, always here for us, the director of the St. Kitts Statistics Department. Good morning, Mr. Phipps, and it's our pleasure to welcome you back to Good Morning SKN.
Thank you very much.
Happy you could join us this morning.
Oh, our pleasure indeed. So let's dive right into this. Your thoughts on the theme for World Population Day 2023, unleashing the power of gender equality, uplifting the voices of women and girls to unlock our world's infinite possibilities.
Yes. A very, I would say a very, it's a bit lengthy
theme,
yes, theme, but very important indeed in terms of the impact of women and girls on the development or sustainable development that is important. So I would say that within our population census that we recently conducted, that the information coming out of that would provide us with some information that we see where things are in terms of women and girls, whether it is education, healthcare, housing, etc., that we'll be able to look at these issues from our data, which would then inform policy and programs that can help persons. So,
without data, can you say if the ratio of female to males, is it that the female outweigh the males?
Yeah. From our past censuses, there have been a slight edge for females.
Oh wow.
Yes, very slight. I think it's probably like 50.2, 50.3.
Okay.
Compared to 49.7.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So it's pretty close.
Oh, okay.
It's almost even.
Okay. Good
No
stuff.
significant difference. That is what we would say.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and just to be clear, is it the 2021 data that has been concluded or the 2022 data?
Yeah. So our initial efforts were to start the census in 2021.
Okay.
But because of the prolonged impact of the pandemic, we had to do it in 2022. But it so happened that we had all our paraphernalia, our slogan, everything was already set in 2021. So we didn't bother to change that. But
Understood.
the census was actually conducted in 2022.
Okay.
Understood. And can you give us an overview of the data collected so far?
Yeah. So as of March of this year, we officially completed our field activities.
Okay.
We were hoping to complete that between a 3 maximum 6 month period. But we had some issues start in terms of a number of enumerators that we would have hired. Started with very much excitement, but once you get into the meat of it, it's not so easy getting information from persons.
Yeah.
Especially when you're asking them confidential information.
Yeah.
So some of them were not quite up to the challenge, so they dropped out and we had to train more persons. And added to that, we had the general elections falling right in the middle of our field activities. And that really set us back a bit in terms of being able to get in touch with people, being able to get the cooperation of persons. But once that passed, we sort of re-energized and went back out there and tried to get everything done. So it took us much longer than we initially anticipated, but we are finally completed with the field work.
Okay. Let's talk about population trends. What are some of them that you would have observed over the year? Because we know we don't have all the data compiled just yet, but what are some that you would have observed?
Well, our initial count, I think is a little over 50,000, is basically showing that we are almost at our we're at our second highest level in terms of our population. Our highest population count was in the 1960s. So we're just getting back there.
Okay.
After the 1960s, you had mass migration to the US, UK, Canada, and so
I was
forth.
just gonna ask,
Yeah.
what was the amount? Do you know the amount that it was?
It was a little over 52,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are getting back up there.
Okay.
And based on the data collected, Mr. Phillip, what are some of the challenges or key challenges faced by the population of St. Kitts and Nevis that you would have observed?
Yeah. So that one we cannot say as yet.
Okay.
Because we are still in the data processing mode right now. Data processing, when I say data processing, what do I mean? So we would have collected employment data on persons, so we are coding them those based on international standards. We are doing field checks to verify the accuracy of some information. We're doing field checks, our checks within the system to check for completeness of the data that was submitted, and where needs be, we would need to go back out in the field and do some follow-up. So that process is ongoing. We're hoping that we can wrap up that by September of this year. Once we complete that and we start with the analysis of the data now, that we will be able to speak more specifically as to what are the issues. So I know many persons will say, if you say ask them what the issues, they might say crime, they may say housing, etc. But where's the data? So we would like the data to speak for us.
Exactly.
Currently, what is the total population of St. Kitts and Nevis?
As I say, we just came out of the field.
Yes.
So we do have a preliminary count, which is just, as I said, a little over 50,000.
A little over 50.
Right now. Compare that to the last census of 2011, where it was 47,195. We have edged up a little bit.
Yes.
But,
Well, okay, let's talk about population growth. We know. Do you know of anything? Because while I was on Dr. Google, I saw something about, basically they're talking about population growth. So how I got it is like, don't make too many kids, because they're trying to prevent starvation, because we see how food is going now. We have sometimes and we don't have sometimes. So let us talk now about the impact of the population growth on various aspects of society, such as healthcare. We see more and more persons are getting sick. Education. We just touched on food security and the environment, because now we're trying to tell persons, stop using the plastic bags. Let's all use these recyclable bags. So let's talk about the impact of those things.
Well, I just say based on looking over the last couple of censuses, that our population is not growing that significantly. I think it's a little less, about 1% per annum. So it isn't really that significant at this time. Some may argue that there's much room for growth.
True.
In terms of the expansion of our economy, the more people you have, the more business activity, etc. But as you rightly said, there are issues of health, there are issues of education, etc. And I would say that this is an all-society approach. I mean, government has its part to play, but the public, households, everyone have a part to play in terms of improving the standard of living of our people.
I agree. Let's talk about your role as the director of the St. Kitts Statistics Department. How long have you been functioning as the director?
I've been with the department for about 24 years now.
Congrats.
And, director about 10 years, little over 10 years.
Okay.
It's quite an interesting job, very stressful at times, but otherwise I say a very enjoying job. Our role basically is to produce official statistics for policy and planning decision making, not just by government, but the private sector also use our information, households also use our information. International organizations, countries of the region also use our information in terms of comparison. So I would say we play a very significant role. A lot of policy issues, we don't get involved in that. We produce the data, we work with other ministries department, and they use that data to basically formulate policies.
Okay, good. So you gave us some of your roles and responsibilities. If you had to do this over, would you do it again?
I would say I start when I'm much younger.
Okay. So for persons who may be interested in contacting the statistics department, I know you said you can't tell us how soon everything's going to be, but for those who may still want to contact and find out what's happening, how can they get in touch?
Well, I say our plan is to, as I say, complete the data cleaning, data processing by September.
Yep.
Okay.
After that, we move into the compilation of the tables and reports. So I'm hoping that before the end of the year that we'll be able to disseminate information to the general public. So this is not just a government thing where we're producing information just for the government. Information will be made available to the general
public.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. And as we wrap, Mr. Phipps, any final words to the population of St. Kitts and Nevis?
Yeah. Well, I would like to sincerely thank everyone for their cooperation and their support, whether as a household you were interviewed or persons would have worked with us, because as a staff, we're only about 15, 16 persons, and we needed more persons than that to work the census. So we would have hired persons from the general public to work with us. So I sincerely want to thank those persons who have worked with us. And thanks for having me here.